and it's a weird situation. All right, we're about to go live. I already started the thing.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
what I notice is that misinformation is now accepted. Like
Yes.
now, talking facts. Hey, look at this information. Look at that. Like, nah. They're gonna stick to
They
a
don't care about
narrative
that.
because the end goal for them is what you gonna call it.
But in the water.
Yeah, muddy the water, right?
Muddy
It
the
almost
water.
reminds me of that Golem guy. They want to make up lies
Yep.
to give Xbox a fair chance through lies,
Yep.
and that's a
Yep.
weird take, right? Because it's like lying doesn't do anything, right? Because
It didn't help.
at the end result, you know, it's not going to change anything, right? The best thing you can do is, even if you don't like a brand or you don't like a fan base, council or whatever, but if something's factual, accept the information, learn from it, and then let the community make better decisions based on it. But they rather push
Yeah.
a lie, and then everybody jumps on this lie, right, or this misinformation narrative. But
Yeah.
for what? It doesn't do anything. Sure, you might antagonize a few people on the internet because they might get triggered. You know, because some people take the internet really, really serious, right? They're like, you know,
Yeah.
behind the screens, they are fucking livid and get pissed off and all that stuff. And maybe that's the reaction. But for the most part, it doesn't do anything, right? Like when we
Yeah.
told them that, you know, Xbox is going third party. Look what Phil said. Look what Satya said. Look what Tim Stewart said. They
Yep.
all lied. Oh, but you know, Jazz had an interview. Blah blah blah. You're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong, Puerto Rock. You know, they created all these fake narratives, and in the end, the truth revealed itself. And that's the thing. Like, there is no point in co-signing narratives and lies. It's not. The truth is going to come out. Reality is going to bloom. That's what I don't understand. Like, ignoring data, ignoring information, ignoring facts does nothing. It's going to blow up in your face. It's insane that the shit, you know? I don't understand the resistance to facts and data, even if you don't like it, you know, because I'm gonna tell you what's going on is this. This is what's going on, right? And I'm gonna make a separate video on this, but this is what's happening. All right. Majority of the gaming community does not want PlayStation to dominate. That's not the same as me saying they want them to fail. They don't want PlayStation to fail. They just don't want PlayStation to dominate. They prefer the PS3 gen, where everybody had an equal balance, or if there was a slight tip of the balance, it was in favor to like Xbox or Nintendo, not so much PlayStation. Right? They don't want the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, or the even PlayStation 4 type era gaming. They want the PlayStation 3 era where the 360 was the hotness, Nintendo was the hotness, and PlayStation, while started out wrong, they ended up good. So that's what they want.
Yeah.
They want a good PlayStation, Xbox 360, you know, well-known household name, and Nintendo doing their thing. That's what they want. They don't want this, what's happening now, right? But the problem is, I ain't gonna say the problem is, it's here. PlayStation is the market leader. It dominated this gen. That's just a fact. Accept it. Move on from it. Why lie?
Yeah.
Why make up things, right? Right? Well, why try to steer gamers in the gaming community to think a certain way when it doesn't matter what you think? It's like The Rock from WWE. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't. It literally doesn't matter. You could think PlayStation's in the worst position in the world. It doesn't matter. The facts and the data shows the complete opposite, right?
Yep.
Over the last couple of months, we all been saying Microsoft's problems is not PlayStation problems. PlayStation is going through nothing on what Xbox is collapsing.
It's not the industry.
It's collapsing,
and you know
right?
You know the defense now is, oh, but it's the industry. The industry's going through this. But it's like you look, you like, wait. Nintendo is selling their consoles. PlayStation is selling their consoles. They're making hitter is fucking Xbox, and Xbox is getting defeated by the Dunny D box, by the one with the Kinect.
Facts, you know.
So how can you explain that? But these guys don't operate in any kind of logic.
Yeah, if people want to talk about specifically one segment of gaming, which is the inflated budgets of AAA games, that's just one aspect.
Yes.
of industry problem, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft, they are the only three platform providers. So they have a lot more things to worry about. They have to worry about how many third-party games comes to their platform. They have to worry about how many subscribers subscribe to their platform. How many people play these games on their stuff, you know? How many consoles they sell to grow their market base. So they have a lot more things to consider beyond, let's say, Rockstar, right? Rockstar, EA, all they got to worry about is game sales. So for them, maybe the AAA thing is a problem for them because maybe the budgets are overbloated and things like that. But that's just one aspect, right? But for Microsoft, PlayStation, Nintendo, the number one thing is console sales because that's literally the start of the business. And this is why they say, oh, there's no money in console sales. I'm like, bro, it's not the actual sale of the console and what you make money from the sale of console.
It's what comes from it.
It's what comes after it's bought. It is a marketplace. You know, once you put that console in your home, the real money begins. When they subscribe to PSN Plus, when they buy games, even if it's third party, that is still money that goes into PlayStation's pocket. Peripherals, Portal, that's the money. You know, the console's the heart of the money.
Said that.
You know, and
Sean Layton said that.
Yeah,
that's why
go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. That's why Sean Layton said that. He said, you want people to buy your hardware not just for that one-time sale, that one-time $500. It's for the ongoing, not of just buying the games for the platform, but the accessories and the headphones and the monitors and the TVs and everything else that go along with it. On top of the subscription service. Sean Layden also said Sony doesn't want to trade a PS5 gamer for a PC gamer. Because once you do that, you're losing out on the subscriptions, you're losing out on all the accessory sales, you're losing out all the additional revenue that comes from being part of the ecosystem. And the argument for Xbox is, well, they never make money on hardware. Well, okay, let's say it's a loss leader and they never make money on hardware. You still have to provide that hardware because you still want people to buy your controllers. You still want people to subscribe to Game Pass. You still want people to, buy all the other shit that they come out with, the dolls and the microwaves and all, and the refrigerators and shit that they make, right? But that's why Xbox is in a unique position that they're in that Nintendo and Sony don't have to worry about. And let's go back to the whole big blockbuster AAA because the expenses are getting. Listen, that's the cost of doing business. Sony's not going to not spend $300 million on a new Spider-Man or Wolverine IP just because the expenses went up. They're going to say, we have no choice but to spend this kind of money because we want people to buy our consoles. We want to give them a reason to come over there because these are system sellers. This is the cost of doing business. Even though we spent $300 million, we've made $600 million back, or we made $1 billion back. They're not investing $300 million and not getting their money back. They're getting their money back, times 3 times. You saw how many copies of Spider-Man they sold, how many copies of God of War they sold. They sell these by the boatloads. And then on top of the accessories and the consoles that are sold and the VR that are sold and everything else collectively. But I think if you're not looking at that, you're just short-sighted and you can't see past tomorrow. And that's why the numbers will always tell you where things are going to go. The numbers will speak volumes. And you can't argue with numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's just insane. Were you going to say something, Craig? Were you about to spit some bars?
I was just going to reiterate.
Spit some bars. I
was just going to reiterate what he was saying.
Go ahead. Spit that Kendrick Lamar.
Jacob's right. As far as they're just making stuff up.
They're not like us.
Yeah, I think it's just to get a
they're
ride.
Not like us.
Yeah, they're not like us. Yeah.
Tell them to go back to Canada. All right?
Yeah. Well, like I said,
your immigration papers is up. That's it.
Yeah.
Build that wall up north. We could build a wall up north too. It ain't just down south.
Ice wall. The ice wall.
Yeah, wall of something up there. Only the bacon and beer is good. But J-Dub's right. It's the console in this case is a gateway. Now, I mean, if they go to a mobile type of platform, that's just another gateway. Like PlayStation made the Portal, that's just another gateway.
Right back.
Yeah, go ahead. And and so when you have a gateway in, what they're meaning is like they talk about gateway drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, you want the people to buy the hardware, so they buy the headset and then the controllers and and the bobbleheads and the specialty stuff that comes with the game if you really enjoy it. So like I bought the Modern Warfare 3 PS5 Slim. I could have bought the other one, but that's what
exactly.
Want. So so no, I agree. Yeah, and as far as the money they're making, I mean, they made like 450 million off of PC sales. So and it was like, well, that came under what they wanted. Yeah, it did, but they didn't lose it because they never had it to begin with. So they're getting their extra revenue from there. And you're right, I agree with the budgets. I know they want to get them under control, but people got to understand the Spider-Man budget in this case. That's the total cost of everything. That's front to back, end of the whole production cycle. That
marketing, everything, all that stuff. And let's face it, we can't live in a world where you're not making big AAA games.
I agree.
Big AAA games is like the Marvel movies, right? They might not be good to some people, but they put the butts in the seat. People will show up to the movies to see a new Avengers movie. Guess what? You have, if you're Marvel, you have to make those Avenger movies. You just can't say, listen, we're just going to make the Blue Beetles, because it's cheaper to make. No, you can't do that.
Yeah,
right.
You're budget. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So and here's the thing. Microsoft don't have anything like they don't have a 300. Halo used to be their big thing. Gears, Forza, all that stuff used to be their big thing. Microsoft no longer has that. Xbox no longer has that. They have a subscription service. So they're gonna their games that got watered down. They turned Forza into a games as a service shit that epically failed. Halo was supposed to last 20 years. That shit failed within the first year. So. But there's this thing where, because a third-party publisher failed in some areas that had nothing to do with PlayStation, well, that means it's PlayStation's fault that Square Enix is not making X, Y, and Z. What does that come? It's Square crazy shit.
Square Enix is. Look, they paid $1 gazillion for the Avengers.
Let's kick. Before we kick this, we're gonna kick it off. Let me just welcome everybody, man. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. The only friend in these YouTube streets, Puerto77, followed by the crew. We got Craig Harris up in here. We got the antagonizer in chief, J-Dub, up in here. Hopefully, we got Extreme coming through. The four horsemen. Listen, we brought the apocalypse. The apocalypse is here. All right, the four horsemen has come. The apocalypse is here. The end of days has begun. We cracked the first seal, and the angels blew the first trumpet. It's over. Yeah. The end is here. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to the chat too.
Yeah, thank you so much for rocking through. You know what I'm saying? I truly appreciate it. I just want to say thank you so much. We're about like 600 something subscribers away from hitting the almighty 10K. Oh my God! Wow. We're close, bro. We all there. You know what I'm saying? Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Black. I'm gonna be known as the Brown Mamba of these streets. That's it. That's gonna be my new name, the Brown Mamba. You know what I'm saying?
Brown Mamba.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got my support there, brother.
No doubt, man. Oh shit! Look at it. Woo! Thank you so much for rocking with us, bro. Yo, thank you so much, man. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I got it.
Don't get into that. So I want to head up. I want to start off with, of course, Jimmy Harrison. With the super chat. He says, my brothers, good to see you all. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you all. For everybody in the chat, to all the members, I truly appreciate the support. To all the subscribers, thank you so much for rocking out. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. I'm glad you're enjoying the panel and the cast and everything that they do. I truly appreciate what you brothers are doing for me. And you come onto this channel. I really look forward week to week from hearing your guys. Your opinions, your conversations, and every week I learn something new from you guys, right? And I hope you guys watching, you enjoyed the show too. What you would call it. So, but if you're new to the channel, stick around, feel the vibe. get that enjoyment through, and then if you like it, stick around because I do some videos, pop through, listen. If you're interested, become a member. But most of all, what I would like is hit the like button and just simply subscribe. That's it. Just rock out in the chat,
Man,
enjoy stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's all I ask.
Rock, I got to tell you a story. I got to tell you, brothers, a story.
Story time.
It's story time, man. Get your popcorn, get your chocolate. This junk is funny as hell. So me and my son are playing on our PlayStation, right? We were playing Grand Blue Fantasy Relink in co-op.
As you should.
We were playing for a while. So I said, all right, man, it's time for you to hit the sack. I said, all right, Dad, but hold on, I got to pack up real quick. I said, pack up? I said, damn, man, you getting out of my pocket already? Damn, you only 11 years old.
Shit,
I said, dang, already?
You be like, shit, I hope you, dog.
I said, you getting out of my pocket already? He said, no, I got to pack up my Xbox. I said, what? I said, well, let me see what he's talking about. So I walk back there. He's putting his Series S in his book bag. And I'm like, man, you ain't taking that to school. He says, no, I'm selling it.
Oh,
I said, selling it. Now, keep in mind, he is not in the gaming community. He is not. I mean, he's in the gaming community, but he's not on podcasts. He's not listening to media. Nothing like that. He literally told me, 11 years old, he says, Dad, there's no reason why I need this. I said, wait a minute. You don't want your Series S anymore? He's like, no. And this is the craziest thing I asked him. I said, what about your games? You know what he said to me? What games?
Dang.
I said,
abuse. I mean, who bought him that Series S? I mean, that's abuse right now.
Oh, Craig, man, why you gotta do that? He thought it was a good idea at the time, bro. He thought it was a good idea.
I did think it was a good idea at the time.
Little Timmy, bro. He fought for the little Timmy. He fought for the little Timmy. You know? Damn, why you gotta do that? He was just trying to win Father of the Year, bro. His son is like, his son looked at him like,
trophy, Messiah, damn.
His son looked at him like, 11, you know when 11-year-old like, yo, Dad.
That's bad.
This shit ain't got no games. Like, bro, there ain't no games. No games.
I was like, so what about Minecraft? He says, well, I can play that on the PC. I'm on the He's like, Pop, I'm on the PlayStation now. That's all I play on. That's all I am. I said, all right. I said, are you sure? He's like, you see I'm putting it in my book bag? I said, gosh. Oh.
When you said, are you sure? He's probably looking at you like, as if you don't know. like you don't know. This thing is garbage. He's like, Dad, a wise man told me Xbox is dog shit.
I'm like, my brother.
I blame next gen. I blame next gen for that one. He got that from me. You didn't get it from me.
I'm like, my brothers. I'm like, is it that bad? An 11-year-old wants to do that? Like, what the hell?
Wow.
Here's what's really crazy.
He made that decision. I didn't make that decision for him.
Here's what's really crazy. He made a decision that there are 30, 40-year-olds don't even understand to make. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Listen.
Well, I told you my kids.
None of my business.
Once Roblox went to PS5, that's when my kids gave up on the series.
You know what?
That was the only reason. That was the only reason was Roblox.
I hear that from coworkers or whatever that they traded in their Xbox for like PS5, and I'm like, why? It was a Roblox. Roblox was literally the only reason they put an Xbox. Once it went to PlayStation, they jumped on it and they said they had to get them Spider-Man along with Roblox. But they said Roblox was like the anchor. Microsoft should have bought Roblox. They should have bought them. Like Minecraft, they should have bought them. Because you'd be surprised how many people were just anchored on Xbox for that one game because of the kids and the people who love it. That shit kept people on Xbox. That shit's crazy. Kids
they transitioned from Minecraft over to Roblox.
Yo,
really? I thought it was.
You don't realize Roblox is a platform. It's like Fortnite, where there's a bazillion different games inside of that one. Like Roblox isn't a game; it's a platform. You sign into it, and you get to select whatever kind of game. They have like a Call of Duty game in there. They got a racing game. You got something for everybody. That shit is crazy, man.
Well, can they call in the B2 with their Roblox game?
They can.
Because Craig is about to play on Roblox. He about to play on Roblox.
That just blew my mind, man. That he made that decision. Yeah. Like 11 years old, and I'm like, damn. And he just bought some one of those LED lights that spin, and because he has a Spider-Man PS5 that spin and say he bought that too. I mean, he customized that thing, and he's like, I was like, man, I'm out.
Oh,
He's
shit,
gaming,
man.
so he's on
said,
that.
He said deuces. He's like,
He said,
this.
kick rock.
I was like, pack up, damn.
Oh man, I feel sorry for the sucker he sold it to. He suckered somebody. Your son got. Not only did he make that wide decision, but he found the fool to actually buy it off him. That's what's even more amazing.
Sold it for 180.
Oh, what? Oh my God, 180!
Yeah.
Wow, good for him.
He got $180.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh shit! Whoa, that's crazy.
That Joker went around. He went ahead and picked up. What did he get? I think he got Scarlet Nexus, and I think he got. What did he get? He got got another one. He got a couple of games. I know that, but I was like, damn, this is.
Yeah, that's good.
Blew my mind.
That's good. That's good for him that he went ahead of the curve. Before the bottom fell completely out from underneath it. You know what I'm saying? Because
nice.
as we see, the Xbox is coming to an end very, very quick. Some dudes are in denial about it, but Satya and Amy Hood is not in denial about it.
Yeah, Amy the Hood. Yeah, I love
Amy the Hood.
Yeah, Amy the Hood and Bond.
They got a AAA game releasing next week. They haven't shown anything from it. They haven't advertised it, and there's no review codes coming out for it. You know why? Game Pass. It's in Game Pass. Why would they right now? Yes.
When I walk into a Best Buy, and I look in the back and see the OLEDs, I still see Spider-Man and Gran Turismo. Yep. That game should be back there. That's insane. Yep. That's just crazy. I mean, oh man, unbelievable.
You mean consoles? You mean like Spider-Man consoles?
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying I see the Spider-Man game playing on like an OLED, like a trailer. And people are still saying, "Man, what is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's the game."
All right, let me get this. Let's get this train wreck back on track. But first, shout out to Mash. He just gifted 20 in the chat with memberships. Right. 20 of you. Yo, shout out to Mash. Thank you so much, my brother. You know what that means, right? Because when they give out membership gifts, it's time to spam them smileys in the chat. Spam the shit out of it, bro. All right, just spam it. Enjoy. Let's knock it out. But 20 views for those of you that got gifted. You know, shout them out. You know, give them some love. You know, give them some love up in the chat. We truly appreciate that, Mash. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, and thank you so much for the support. You know, spam the smileys. But let's go back to Square Enix, right? Apparently, PlayStation's getting blamed for Square Enix woes, right? But I mean, let me just post some facts, right? From the Square Enix financial results, net sales was 3.8%, operating income was negative 26%, so they didn't make profit, right? But it says here, net sales up 1% due to Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, and Dragon Quest. But operating income down 38% due to higher development and advertising costs. MMO sub-segment down year over year. I'm confused. Didn't Xbox join?
Yep.
MMO.
Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. So how are we down? How's Square Enix down? They got a whole new fan base.
They didn't buy it and they didn't play it.
Yeah, they have not recovered from what happened with the Avengers game. They haven't recovered.
Chat, can you help us out? Like a whole new platform, the end all be all, the ones that's gonna save gaming. Why is MMO subs down?
The porting cost supported over to Xbox. And these motherfuckers didn't even buy to support it.
Buy the game, yeah.
Exactly. You know, and then they think all of a sudden they're gonna get all these PlayStation Final Fantasy games, which there's only four goddamn games that's exclusive.
There we go. So games for smart devices, so really mobile phones and tablets, and PC browser sub-segment down due to weak performances from existing titles. So, but nobody mentions that. Nobody mentions that phones and PC is fucking this up.
Foam Stars didn't do well. I think that was a Square Enix game as well. But they haven't recovered. It cost them over $50 million US dollars to get the Avengers license, and then they did not get the likenesses, and that was the end. They have not recovered. They even did a Twitch blitz, meaning that they had a bunch of Twitch streamers for like a month playing Avengers and streaming it, like popular Twitch streamers.
It was just
that got interest up a whole. And then they lost money on the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which it was a good game.
It was a good game,
But the problem was in my opinion, Avengers left such a salty taste in people's mouth.
I
You don't
agree.
want another bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I watched
bite.
that Square Enix show when they revealed that game, and there was a collective thud when they revealed that game. You're right.
If you go to a restaurant and the first meal you eat sucks,
Yeah.
you're never going back to that restaurant again. There's just no point.
agree.
Like why, right?
Yeah.
It says
People had to get talked into playing that game too.
Yeah.
Like, but wait a minute, didn't they make Avengers? No, I'm out.
Yeah, and it was good.
Yeah, and that hurt. And
And it was good.
Yeah.
The other game that hurt the Guardians game and then that hurt. I mean, it's just they've been going downhill ever since. I thought they did. I mean, the Final Fantasy games are fine, but Final Fantasy's already on Xbox. Like Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10, 10, 2, they're all on Xbox. They didn't buy the games. They didn't buy them. It's just more about they just want to be able to say, well, you can't hold this over our head. That's all it's about.
See, here's the thing. And Digital Foundry said it. The quagmire that is Xbox is Game Pass. Because those guys have been conditioned not to buy games, to wait for it to come to Game Pass, that fucks up a lot of revenue for people like Square Enix and other people. So that removes the want from those developers to actually put it on. And the mere fact that Xbox already has an extremely small install base sitting around on 23 million or 21 to 23 million or something like that. That just shows you they only sold 800,000 Xboxes in a quarter, while Sony was sitting almost 5, right? So yeah, so we're gonna get, I'm sure Puerto Rock gonna get us to that too. But
I did not know that.
So it's not worth the effort, right? So the Xbox guys are out there right now. They're trying to spin this negative Square Enix news of them saying that they're going to open up and try to make games more, make their games multi-plat, whatever. Thinking that their games are going to come to. So
that's what's crazy. Right? Because most of their games are multi-plats. There's only a few exclusives on PlayStation.
Right.
In fact, Nintendo 95%, I think it's 68% from the 4 years, right? So starting from 2020, I think it's like 63% of the games that are multi-plat. Yeah. Nintendo actually got more exclusive games than PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Versus PlayStation 6, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, they're attributing PlayStation only to Square Enix's decision to push more multi-plats, but that's not it. Here's the final point I wanted to make. Net profits was down 69.7%, so pretty much 70%.
69
profits, So 70% of your profit was down due to cancellation of some key pieces of content. So games that they had in development, they canceled. They lost all that money.
That was $150 million. That was $150 million they lost.
What is PlayStation supposed to do with that? Like PlayStation's deal isn't meant to recover 70% of your fuck ups that you haven't turned into the studio. It's like even in Final Fantasy Rebirth and FS16, right, and Forspoken, let's say if every single one of those games was day and day across everything, this company would still be fucked. It was still be fucked. There's nothing you can do when you have such a bad system of creating content. You spend all this money. They just have a bad operating system that they need to fix. So if Final Fantasy and all these games were multi-plat, this would not have helped. They would still be fucked. 70% of your profits down because of shit you canceled? That shit's like everybody, and I think an Extreme could testify this. Every company has a canceled project, right? Everybody aborts a baby. But when you abort a baby and 70% of your profit goes down, like, bro, you really fucked up. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, wear a condom. Like, stop. Like, what are you doing? Like,
there's games. I mean, they had like three games in a row that didn't do well. That Avengers game, then the Guardians game, which most people did enjoy. And then, Foam Stars, Forspoken did not sell as well as people thought. And again, the whole thing as well, it needs to be on all platforms because, again, there is an inferiority. I mean, I had an Xbox. I talked to these guys, and there is an inferiority complex that they have. And this is like, well, these companies are going to lose money unless they don't put the games on Xbox. And then you're going to have to deal with the fact that if the game goes to Xbox, their next thing is going to be, well, it needs to be on Game Pass because that's the only way we're going to play this game anyway. So
Yeah.
And you're right.
Oh,
Octopath Traveler was on Xbox. The Tomb Raider game, that was Xbox.
Yeah.
So they act like that did not happen or it doesn't exist. It's just
you know what? You make a good point, Craig. All of those Square Enix games that were PlayStation exclusive or time exclusive didn't do well anyway. So Xbox wouldn't want to save any of those games anyway.
Correct. And all the Final Fantasy games are on Xbox. So you can get. I had 13 and 13-2 on Xbox. I had 10. I had 10, and I played 10 when I had my Xbox here. I played 10 again. So the games are there, and then God forbid the bastardization they did to Crisis Core, they didn't buy it. So
they didn't buy it, right?
Yeah, so
they platformed
those games aren't there.
And they platformed for Spoken's failure when they did that demo, because I remember trying to download that thing. People were going nuts trying to get it, and once they did, they were like, "This is what's coming out."
Forspoken was day and date on PC too, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was on PC anyway.
It was on PC too.
It was an actual exclusive. It was a console exclusive. Now that's the term that's used.
Yeah.
It was on PC too. So what the fuck Xbox was gonna do? Xbox was doing shit. Add like 9 more sales.
Yeah, well, they're 20. They're very large. Their very large 21 million install base was all of a sudden going to go out and spend $70 to buy those games.
And they're broke down. If Forspoken was going to be on Xbox, the main conversation we would be seeing is it going to Game Pass? That's what we would have done. We would have gotten people crying on why it's not on Game Pass. That's what we would have got.
I never pulled the trigger on that game. Is that game even good to play now? I would say
it's good. It's good. To me, it's good. Yeah.
I
bought it. I bought it.
But I'm gonna tell you. It's probably cheaper now. You probably could get it for $19. Not so bad.
Yeah.
What saved the game for me was the gameplay. The gameplay is phenomenal. It's
it was fun. Yeah, and the character, the girl playing the main character,
the powers, great gameplay. Everything else was like the design of the world was kind of rough. I mean the cliffs and the rocks was nice, but like the cities was bland.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? The score it got, it was deservingly so. It got the right score.
Yeah,
70. Right. It's a 7. It's definitely it. It's not a.
And that's the other game my son's playing. Is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. That's one.
Yeah, but the gameplay's amazing. The combat's amazing. If you do decide to play it, do this recommendation. There's an option setting where it talks about how much conversation you want to have the character with the other character, because they talk to each other. But you can limit it. Do not limit it. Don't.
Yeah.
Go all the way.
Better unlimited. For me.
Trust me. Let them talk. I understand, but I think the people who limited the conversation, because I did it a little bit and it doesn't make sense and it sounds stupid. You miss out so much context between them two. Let them talk, because they talk shit. Let them do them. It makes sense.
Let them rock. Okay.
Let them rock. Let them cook. You go all the way, it makes more sense. But when you limit it, it just sounds stupid. Like it just sounds awkward and out of sync and out of timing. You got to let them just. And believe me, I don't want to explain it because it gets a spoiler. But just let them rock, and it just makes sense. Especially if you beat the game, it completely makes sense when you let them rock. Just let them rock.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm
trying to finish up Stellar Blade right now, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he was right with that misinformation that these guys are doing. So they suck. I mean, the console war is over. Shout out to what J-Dub was saying earlier. Now it's just about innuendo and making shit up, and I guess trying to get a quote unquote rise out of people, and it's done. I mean, when the beautiful Sarah Bond had resting Xbox face in that Bloomberg interview, it just
resting Xbox face.
Yeah, let's get it called.
It's done. You're not even showcasing. You're not even showcasing your biggest supposed graphical title. Yeah, it's done.
They're not even sending review codes. Now, here's the thing. Just like we said in the beginning, it's all about the lies, right? So now they're trying to attribute the exclusivity between Square Enix and PlayStation as the failure for whatever. But clearly, the data and the facts show it's just Square Enix's business practices. There's nothing you can really do about that, right? But here's the reality of facts. When you have business deals. It's what Sony puts up for that business deal, because it's not free. You know, you don't get the game exclusive for free. Sony has to call for something, whether they pay for the marketing budget, they pay for the development costs and stuff like that. There's going to be some type of financial incentive. So these guys think like, oh yeah, exclusivity's over, everything's going to be multi-plat. No. Number one, Xbox is dog shit. So if Sony could be like, yo, don't put that shit on that dog shit Xbox. PC's fine, but PC, PlayStation, and we'll put up the cost for, marketing. Couple of $1 million here, couple of $1 million there. They're gonna be like, you know what? Cool. Xbox is dog shit anyway. I don't need that motherfucking hell. Yeah. If I announce it for Xbox, half these bums are gonna say, put it on Game Pass. Fuck them. So don't think third-party exclusive is gonna be the end of third-party exclusive. PlayStation will get more third-party exclusives. That's inevitable because Xbox is dog shit. You don't have enough to stop it. There's not enough to stop it, right? The best scenario is, will Sony have like outright exclusives, kind of like Final Fantasy or Ronin, where it's not on PC day and date? That's going to be the harder fight, because PC games at times do sell good on PC, or at least enough to justify the cost, right, and stuff like that. So that's where conundrum. But Xbox, we're still going to see more third-party exclusives away from Xbox. That's not even a question, because Xbox got no teeth.
And that's across the board. That's across the board.
Yeah, they have no teeth. Especially a Japanese game. No teeth. None.
They just closed down. None. They just closed down Tango Gameworks.
Yeah.
Their only Japanese studio.
All right, we're about to.
Yo, Jendo.
Hold on. I know E4 is about to cook because he got his sweater. He got his cashmere sweater on. That shit's cashmere is glistening, right? But let me, my man. You know, you're about to. Is it cold out there? Oh yeah, it's cold out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cold, man. This is winter.
I keep forgetting. I'm like, man, you must be sweating. Here I got my.
You think I'm wearing this in the summer?
It's hot as fuck over here. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, I want to say shout out, to the new members, to all the members that's coming up here. Danny Stab just gifted 5 more members up in here. So to the 5 more members that got gifted, enjoy it, spam it. You know what I'm saying? Spam the smileys and stuff. Hey, we're having a good time. Liquid Data comes up in here and says, want to make a big omelet? You gotta break a lot of eggs. Facts. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go hard. Right. He who dares wins. That's just how it is. And we got True Witty. True Witty's up in here saying Xbox don't like Japan anyway. Tango said bye. It's a shame, bro. You know what? No evil with them 3. Thank you, Xbox.
But my problem with that whole game is like, why is the 1 and 2? So don't talk shit. What's the evil within about? I mean, why is the evil still within? You failed the first time because the evil within. This guy, this shit. So anyway. I mean, that's what happened, right?
All right. Extreme
evil within.
Extreme looks bored. You're bored. You're bored.
Let's extreme. Go ahead. Let's say extreme cook. Let him cook.
It's like cook that Australian cuisine, bro. He got snake skins and kangaroo meat. He's roasting that kangaroo.
That moment went way further than I thought it would.
It's good to see you, Elm. What's up, man?
Hey, good to see you guys. Good to see all of you. Yeah, Jimmy, good to see you too. Hey, listen, Pio, do you know how you can make a small fortune publishing on Xbox? Start with a large fortune.
Oh man. Yeah, he ain't lying. Microsoft had to spend $100 billion.
Yo,
they spent $350.
That dude Satya's like, thank God I got this shit off my contract. Yo, that was the smartest business decision he made. He's like, nah. My next bonus contract, I don't even want the letter X anywhere. You're gonna have to like if there's a word that requires X, like exercise or exhibit, come up with new words. Get the synonym. Yo, that's it. Don't want to do it.
Yo, so considering this Square Enix debacle that is now unfolding, it is like you guys have pointed out the entire show. It is ironic that all of the shoulders of the entire gaming industry rest on PlayStation, because Square Enix is one thing. I think it's a disingenuous argument, of course, but it's one thing. But now they are blaming PlayStation gamers for not having bought Hi-Fi Rush as the reason that they closed down.
The funny part is we said no one really cares about this game. Took it all away.
Well, I said, why is Phil Spencer bringing games that everybody's telling you that we don't care about, just so you can learn that we don't care about it? Like, again, Sea of Thieves got lucky. It got its 15 minutes of fame, and I'm pretty sure that's already gone now. But all of the other ones, they were going to die on the vine, which is exactly what they did. But apparently, we were supposed to save Xbox too. Like that is literally the stage where we are in, where it's like their studios now rely on us. So forget about Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2, because we all know that's not going to do anything over there. Now it's a matter of how much support do we give it when they bring it to our platform, because now their shoulders or their heads are laying in our hands now. So it's crazy to see. It's crazy to see how the industry is so disingenuous. And the thing is, it would be one thing if the fanboys on Twitter were the ones saying it. But you see so many aspects of the gaming media, while they won't outright say the same bullshit, they definitely lean heavy in that direction. They're just like, hey, Square Enix is going to go more multi-platform now. Nobody pointing out that they were extremely multi-platform before. You know, and everybody reads it as they are going to publish less exclusives on PlayStation, even though, like you guys have pointed out, they publish more on Nintendo. Yeah. But nobody reads it as, oh, they are going to take those Nintendo games and put them on PlayStation, since apparently that's the place where all of the industry is carried, right? But that logical leap doesn't happen that way. So I just find it hilarious. It's a fun conversation, but it's just one of those moments where it's like they're just grasping at anything. So now it's like Sony's didn't Sony's financials just come out and they were doing fine? So they were like, let's focus on Square Enix's.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. You know, to break down the numbers from 2020 to 2024, Square Enix released 47 games. Out of the 47 games released, 32 were multi-platform. 6 were PlayStation exclusive or console exclusive, meaning on PC, and 9 were Nintendo exclusive or console exclusive, meaning shared with PC. So that's the breakdown. 47 games, 32 multi-platform across the board, 6 exclusives or console exclusive for PlayStation, 9 for Nintendo. Yeah, somehow PlayStation is like the reason for the entire company, like everything, because of 6 games. Over 4 years. Look, Square, 6 games over 4 years.
Yeah, Square's going to do the same thing. Capcom.
I don't even know what the 9 games for Nintendo is. Craig,
well, I know one was
like I'm gonna be honest, for real, no cap. I didn't even know Nintendo got that many exclusives from Square Enix. I didn't know they got that many. 9?
I thought they had Octopath 1 and 2.
I think it was I just remember Octopath Traveler. The fuck else they got?
I couldn't tell you, but like I said before. Yeah, it's they're already multi-plat. It's just it sounds like they're going to go more in the direction of what Capcom's doing. So that's fine. I mean, it's not like Capcom's not succeeding. They're doing pretty well. So
in my opinion, they need to fix a couple of things. Number one, they obviously have stupid metrics, right? If 70% of your profits got erased because of content you didn't even release, you got some bad practices going on. That's number one. Number two, the games that people do want, like the Final Fantasy stuff like that, you gotta step up with the technology. I'm sorry, like the Final Fantasy Rebirth looks good, right? But they could have launched a performance mode to make it look better. You know what I'm saying? Look at Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, go to Sony or something. Like, you gotta step up. Like, because remember, the way the games look is eye candy. You got to make sure you have that eye candy, right? Some of the phenoms of gaming have great eye candy. You know, like the Rockstars, the Naughty Dogs. They have a great attention to detail and have great eye candy, right? You can't release a game day one and then say, don't worry, we'll fix it 3 months later with better performance. That shit doesn't work. Like, that shit doesn't work.
When you have that attraction graphically, that's all that matters. And you talking about Hellblade. Yeah. Well, when you talk about Hellblade, I'm like, damn, is the studio going to survive after this game? At this point, like, shoot. I mean, is that even going to have a foundation?
No more layoffs, yeah. But I disagree, Rock, because I've said this years ago. And Sean Layton even said this when he was on What's Up PlayStation. Your first party studios exist to show what your device, your machine's capable of. Square Enix is a third-party entity, so this is just me speaking for myself.
No. So I'm not saying to no. So first party to show what the console can do, but once the first party shows it, third party should be like, oh shit, your console can do that. we want to do that too,
sense.
because that makes the game.
sense.
Look at Rockstar. Rockstar clearly knows that lesson. They don't fuck around. In fact, Rockstar's out there be like, we can fuck your bitch better than you can.
Yeah, no,
That's
I don't
Rockstar.
disagree with
Rockstar's
what they
like,
do,
we could pleasure your wife better than you can. Go ahead, test us. That's Rockstar. Am I lying? They be doing some shit on console.
Yeah, they push the limits.
They push the limits with their games.
They do.
They don't play around. They be like, yo, we'll make your wife bust enough faster than you can. Play with me. Like, that's why the world stops. Everybody hides their wives when Rockstar comes. Like, ain't nobody releasing games the month Rockstar. Rockstar goes, all right. Everybody, everybody's waiting when Rockstar's releasing their games. They're like, when is these motherfuckers release their game?
What's
and
going
Rockstar
on?
goes, yeah, we're gonna release our game October 2025. Nobody's releasing a game that month.
You guys
Everybody's
busy
like,
up there?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's
That's
get
true.
our game by July. We gotta get our game out
And
there.
they always tend to push something where we don't see. We're like, damn, I've never seen that before. Ain't
nobody messing with Rockstar.
What's their
Not even
engine?
Sony.
What's their
I mean,
engine?
Sony's
But
like the
if I had
only one that has the
NASCAR
balls to do it.
Yeah, if I had a NASCAR team and J-Dub's a primary driver, I'm going to expect him to drive the car well. But if he gets sick or he's incapacitated or whatever, he's not able to drive, and I put the backup in, well, I want the backup to drive well.
I'm gonna need
but
I don't need a code for this door, which I always forget, but the one that sells too, because I got to go back and forth.
I don't know what that was. J-Dub, you all right?
Who are you talking to?
You can write those down for me.
Oh, shit, you talking to a side chick. He forgot to mute. J-Dub out here talking to the squeeze.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's just me, though. I don't expect the backup.
Yo,
to
mute your
play
shit,
well
bro.
as the starter.
Like, yo, mute your shit. I'm out here.
My bad.
He out here talking to P. Diddy. What the fuck we doing? Yo, oh shit. he out here talking to Andrew Tate. What the fuck?
Yeah, he doing something.
Yo,
yeah.
how your business, bro? How your business? You about to be exposed.
Yeah, they coming to expose. But no, I don't know.
He himself. Fucking J-Dub. Oh, shout out to my brother J-Dub, bro. But hey yo, but where we at? Okay, so we finished.
Well, I was just saying, I don't expect I understand what you're saying. They should be willing to go an extra step. But
you know what I'm saying,
if they
though?
don't, you shouldn't be. No, you're not wrong about going the extra step, like
not even the extra step, right?
Like that.
I know I said the extra step, but Square Enix used to be one of the top producing games for PlayStation. Their game, look, Final Fantasy VII was one of the best games on the platform, graphically, everything.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, so it's not like I'm asking for something they never did. Even on Nintendo, Final Fantasy was like one of the top graphical games of that era. Like so saying like, yo, Final Fantasy, look how it looks, look at the graphics, look at all this. That's not really something new from them. They used to do that. That's why this gen, for me, this gen just feels weird. I'm like,
yeah, they fell behind.
Just weird, man. It's just something weird.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah,
like
I don't
something's
disagree
off.
with that.
It pisses me off.
But see, the Guardians game does look good.
It does look good. Oh yeah, it looks
it does.
great.
Yeah.
It's Avengers.
That game utterly shocked me. Yeah.
Avengers screwed that up.
Me too.
I'm telling you.
Me too. I was like,
Avengers
what?
screwed that up. They let that bad taste.
I agree with that.
They let that bad taste in a person's mouth, and everybody's like, we're not trying to hear that stuff, right? All right, but here we go. So let's go to the next topic, right? You know, what's better than one CEO? Two CEOs, because you know all the workers want more bosses. That's a great idea. Right now, one, we're gonna give you two CEOs. But let me break down the announcement here. Where you at? Where's that? Okay. So Herman Hulse and Hideaki Nishino are two CEOs for PlayStation. So how does this work? Well, Herman Hulse will be the CEO of PlayStation Studio Business Group, responsible for first-party teams and development of PlayStation IPs onto other mediums. So like the TV shows and films, music, whatever the hell they're going to do with these IPs, t-shirts, Lego blocks, whatever the hell, that's all him. So he pretty much controls all things first party. From game development to expanding the IPs, I'm assuming PC as well. So that's probably all under him. Now, Hideki Nishino, I hope I'm pronouncing his first name right. He's the CEO of Platform Business Group. So he's responsible for console hardware, the technology for PlayStation, all the accessories, PlayStation Network and the third party relations, right? Mm-hmm. That's all him. So he's the decision, right? So why is this significant, right? So for the first time, a CEO of PlayStation does not control all aspects of PlayStation. You know, like, for example, Jim Ryan, he controlled the first party. He controlled the third party. He had the final say in everything. So now they split responsibility. Herman Holtz will have, at least from a PlayStation perspective, the final say on all things first party. So that means Nishino has no say on what Herman Holtz wants. Now, I'm pretty sure the corrallability or whatever, but let's just keep it simple. Herman Holtz has the final say and goes up to Sony, you know, big group. And Nishino, when it comes to console, the future consoles, the technologies, the accessories, PlayStation Network, and third-party relationships, third-party deals, third-party exclusives, all that stuff. That's all him. And he has the final say. You know, just under Sony big headquarters. So we'll start left to right. I'll start with Craig. What do you think about that? What do you think about this change in having two CEOs with strict responsibilities and control of a certain aspect of PlayStation? Do you think this is a good idea? Does it make sense? What are your thoughts?
I think, yeah, well, it makes sense so that neither one of them gets overwhelmed. Sony is moving more. They're moving more IP into the television movie realm. So it is good that that they just put one person in charge of that. You just have one point person, and somebody else to handle the other stuff. It makes sense. But I also understand unless they got to have really good communication, because if they're off balance on anything, like, whether it's the CFO likes what one guy's saying versus another, is it that type of relationship? It doesn't sound like it's adversarial, because they sound like they have equal amount of duties. So interesting. I've worked for two companies with two CEOs. One worked well and the other one did not. So interesting to see how they do it. And as long as they're on the same page, they have to be on the same page. They're on the same page, they'll be fine. But if somebody wakes up on Tuesday or Wednesday, and says, I want to do this, and the other one says, well, I don't want to do that. How, I don't know if they talk, like you were saying, are they going to talk to each other, or are they just going to go straight to to the CFO? It's just it's structured differently. So let's have to wait. I give it a year. I always give things like this 1 year to see the way it's going to work. And it's the same with Sarah Bond. I said it this morning. I'm giving Sarah Bond 1 year to be fair, because she has got to implement what she wants at her coming out party, so to speak. The woman coming down the staircase in the nice gown. That's their showcase in June. So if fingers crossed they have a good showcase, because if not, then her ass would be, or her head's on a platter at that point. So we'll just have to wait and see how it works out. This time next year, I'll be like, all right, let's look at what they did, financially, what decisions they made, if they had to cut more jobs, if they added more jobs. Herman Holtz is going to be working kind of hand in hand with Sony Motion Pictures, especially with the TV shows. That goes to Sony Pictures, So I have to wait and see. I'm open minded with stuff like this. So that's my take.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's go down to Jimmy.
I'm just picking back on what Messiah said. The only thing is, I just hope it's a new feel for them, but like the way Sony's moving, though, it's as far as like where PlayStation's moving. I think it kind of makes sense because of the simple facts of what they're doing and how they're actually getting the fan base on. I just hope they don't butt heads with it, but I just got a real good feeling with Herman Holtz, because say what you want about Killzone and or Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn, that guy knows quality. Like he's going to bring quality to the table. Like, he's not going to bring nothing half-assed. He's not going to bring nothing it's going to be like that's weak to the eye. He's going to bring aesthetics to it, like saying, hey, if it's not something that's like picture perfect, it's not going to be on that. It's not going to be in the front of the consumer's face. So I like the move, to be honest with you, because it like I said, it's not going to put too much of a burden on one individual to go ahead and try to make things right. They could probably work together on it. And then not only that, with the way PlayStation is moving right now, to be honest, I think it makes sense, like what Messiah said. But like I said, I just got a real good feeling with Herman Holtz. I think he's going to knock it out the park. I really do.
All right. Now let me give this ball over to Extreme. I want to hear, because the reason why is this is going to be interesting, because I remember Extreme said he doesn't want developers to be in businessman positions. So
Ooh.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I got it.
We're gonna get some good. Yo, everybody, buckle the fuck up, because we're about to get some good shit. Because I remember, y'all think I don't pay attention to y'all. Believe me, I pay attention, and I remember. That's my superpower. I remember useless shit. So I remember he specifically says he does not like the idea of creators being the bosses. He wants businessmen to be business, creators to be creators. Now let's see what. So what are your thoughts about this whole thing?
Talk to me, Extreme. What's up?
Okay,
Let's go.
so first of all, we need to remember that this is actually a triangle, okay? Because they are still going to be reporting to Hiroki Totoki. So in many ways, they are not the top of the pyramid, you know, when it comes to this SIE business inside of Sony. So they're still not having a creator in that topmost position, because it's actually going to be the CFO and the chairman of SIE, Hiroki Totoki, that they will be reporting to. So that takes away that fear, because people always wanted to talk about, you know, Herman Hulst should be the next CEO, and I was like, no, definitely not.
I remember that.
For the reasons, for the reasons that I stated earlier. So this is actually pretty much by having a triumvirate, you know, pretty much like the Romans. I think they're setting themselves up to do well, because now they have the person that created a new IP in Horizon. He knows what it takes to take such a huge risk, such a big bet over so many years in order to bring something that's going to be phenomenal. And he's going to be taking care of the creatives under him. That makes a lot of sense. Then Hideaki Nishino, I think that's how you pronounce it, but I could be wrong. He's been the SVP, Senior Vice President, and also the person who's in charge of the actual platform, because before this, he was the head of platform experience. So he was the one that was pushing out all of the software updates for the PS5. He's the one that worked on the design of the PS5, you know, kind of like the head for that one. So as far as I know, he's done a good job. There's still updates that I want the PS5 to have, of course. But for him to be taking care of the PlayStation 6, PlayStation Portal Pro, or PlayStation Portable, or, you know, whatever headphones they're going to bring out next, that makes a lot of sense to me too. So I think that there is a good balance over here, because when you take a look at Jim Ryan's position, the way that he was describing that travel, it didn't make sense for Sony to just say, okay, who is the next sacrificial lamb? Like, who are we putting, and we know we're going to ring you out like the US presidency and then throw you away after 4 years. That just wasn't sustainable. And I think they've been through, like, we've said this before, right? Like, every CEO seems to last about 3 or 4 years. I think for a long-term vision, that starts to become problematic, because you are now in the space where Sony has dominated the console space, but they need to find ways to expand the reach, both within the console space, as in bringing more people inside of it, but also outside, you know, reaching out to PC and creating more loyal customers over there. So you will now want long-term plans and long-term plays, and you can't be doing that if you're changing coach every 3 or 4 years. Like, if you're trying to create a 15-year roadmap, the people that create it should probably be there for the first 10 in order to establish it and get it right before you then start swapping people again. So if they had just had one person, it would have been, I think, problematic, because nobody is going to be able to keep up with that schedule for like longer than 5 years, no matter how much you pay them. And also, as much as I appreciate Jim Ryan, and I do think he's been one of the best leaders we've ever had for PlayStation, you can see where people had issues with him. You know, like, okay, your communication style isn't there and everything like that. But it's probably because the guy was too jet lagged all the time. So I like PlayStation being quiet. I really do. That is my preference. But if there is a better balance where certain people can be a little bit happier with the amount of events and shows and things that are being put forward, without Sony going all the way back to like 2016 and earlier, where they will show you a game 5 years out and then you will have to wait 7 years for it to arrive, then perhaps they can find that balance. But at the same time, if Herman Hulst is like, hey, listen, I don't love cameras as well, that's perfectly fine with me. So I'm actually really happy about this, because like I said, you don't have a creative in the top spot. It is still a financier, and Hiroki Totoki is still going to make sure that these projects make sense from the business perspective. And if there's any blowback or whatever, you can always just kick it up to him, because ultimately he's the one that sits on top of the gold.
Okay.
All right.
Good stuff. All right. Hey,
All right.
Okay.
Dub, what you think about
Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I really like this. I really like the fact that they're gonna split split their time because, like M said, we know Jim Ryan. He finally came out and said, "Listen, man, I had to, every week I had to be in 3 different time zones, and I had to do that, every week for months and months, and basically for the last X amount of years. Now he gets to rest. So you take a guy like Herman Holtz, who was in charge of a studio, actually good studio, right, with good IPs and has the knowledge. So he knows what gamers want. He knows how to make a good game, and so I trust him on the games front. And then you take the other guy, who's going to tackle the other side of the work. It looks like, from that standpoint, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think it's a win-win. I don't think gamers are going to, we're forever going to have our bangers. That's just what it is. That's what encompasses PlayStation. That's why PlayStation is so, popular worldwide. It's not because of anything else outside of the games. And I think they're going to double down on they've already said they're going to double down on the first party games and give us what we want. We got the PS5 Pro coming this year. Hopefully we have some kind of event this month. I think they kind of alluded to that in some of their tweets and some of their stuff that they put out. So I can't, I think it's positive. I can't find anything negative about it. I know a lot of guys thought about Hiroki Totoki, and you got to realize this guy, Hiroki Totoki, first and foremost, he's a CFO. So he's the guy, he watches the pockets, right? I've originally said this. You've never seen in history a CFO as a CEO. Obviously he's, interim. You've seen him in interim, so they find somebody to fill that role because they're counteractive. The CFO's job is to spend the least amount of money and to make the most amount of money. But your saving money will always supersede your spending money. So that's why those roles, in the job of CEO is to manage it all, to make the money, but to also deliver a great product. You can't deliver a great quality product that people love without spending money. So I think this is going to be good. I'm glad to finally get it behind us, so people can let Jim Ryan relax and do what he do, and hopefully he does some interviews and stuff like that on Jay Barry's and Persona's podcast. I'd like to get some more insight to him.
In 20 years,
my man,
the NDA is going to be tight.
For like a good
Yeah,
5 years.
He's going to be locked up tighter than Alcatraz. That's what it's going to
Yeah.
be.
Oh, shit.
But listen,
My man
I
got
will
that
down this.
NDA. He got that NDA.
I will down this hill. I'm gonna go on a limb, and I will down this hill. I still think one of the reasons he retired is because during the whole Activision Blizzard case, they met with Microsoft, and Microsoft told them their plans. Their plans was to be a third-party publisher and no longer compete with Sony. And once they said that and worked that deal out and put it in writing and stuff like that, I think it was the writing on the wall. There was nothing else for Jim Ryan to do. He's won the console war. He's won with PS5. So it was a perfect time for him to go ahead and retire. Sean Layden did it with the PS4. He made sure it was successful. He got it to a point where it couldn't go any higher, and he went out on the sunset. And the same for the guy before him and before him. These guys are lifers. These guys are lifers. They've been with the company for 30 years. Jim Ryan been there for 30 years. Sean Layden been there for, I think, 30 years. And people laugh when I tell them Phil Spencer been with Microsoft for 36 years. A lot of people didn't know that. And so
those guys did go out on a high note if you think about it.
I mean, PlayStation has always been on top, right? In every generation they have since its inception. So we've ultimately, even when they stumbled during the PS3 era, they still went out on a high note that nobody could touch them. So PlayStation has never really failed in doing what they do, and that's make great games and great hardware. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. If $100 billion, right, that your competition is spending, if that doesn't do it, I don't know what can.
Yeah.
You know,
the changing
they
of,
went they went against a
Microsoft Studio.
yeah, they went against a company that had $4 trillion, and that $4 trillion company still couldn't put a dent. So I mean, ultimately, you know, unless Sony just decides to stop making great games and do something else, you know, I don't see anything changing.
You know, you got a company that's making another company have little kids sell their hardware. That's
And to put this in perspective, the fact that all of those PlayStation games are going, I mean, those Xbox games are going to PlayStation, that's going to further embolden PlayStation's platform and its reach, right? That's going to basically make the PlayStation de facto. I mean, pretty much it's its own thing, right? There is no competition for it. Nintendo is in its own lane with the handheld thing. So, I mean, ultimately, unless somebody else decides to come up with another console, it is what it is. It's only PlayStation.
Now,
but
games have you heard
I don't
anything
think
coming over?
But I don't think that people will have to worry about, oh, there's no competition. It's because the fact that the bulk of Sony's money comes from the gaming division means they can't stop doing what they do. They can't stop innovating. They can't stop giving you what you want because that is the money. If they mess up the money, then the whole company goes under. Because I believe 36% of their revenue and their profits and everything comes from PlayStation, which is, I think, the largest, biggest single entity from there. Of course, they have the music and stuff like that, but even now, that stuff is starting to merge with PlayStation because you got PlayStation branded movies, you got PlayStation branded soundtracks and music and everything else. So it's all working together in synergy. So, I mean, ultimately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts, Porter Rock?
Yeah.
Wait, Craig.
I was going to say, if you heard any games
up, Craig?
coming over. I've heard Flight Sim and Starfield, or possibly the next.
Starfield and Flight Sim. I heard Gears 6 as well. That's going to be announced at this show. So now keep in mind, they've been having these PS5 dev kits. Microsoft's been having these PS5 dev kits for like 4 years now. So they had them prior to 2020, before this the console generation happened, and we know that because of the Rare. Rare said they had them prior, so yeah.
Yeah, true. All right, cool.
Porter Rock,
what's on your mind, Porter Rock? Your thoughts.
You're muted.
We can't hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Got it.
There you go.
All right. So completely agree with a lot of points.
Oh, they got you? Or they got me?
All right, I'm back. Had to pull the Doctor Strange. So Herman Hulse on that side of the house. So let's look at the two structure. As I explained before, they split pretty much Sony into two major components, and having two people having control. And I agree with Extreme. You have Hiroki Totoki, who's like the overall, but primarily the financial guy. So it's good to have the business. But I think in terms of the creative vision, you know, because Hiroki Totoki, he's just a money guy, right? But he's not going to plan like the future planning. Like he's not going to listen to what games are being made or the future technology. He's not going to invent that stuff in his head. He's waiting for guys to bring that information to him and stuff like that. And then he's probably going to battle with the CFO, with the money, whatever. And then, you know, those internal workings Sony will sort out. But what I do like is I think Sony has gotten to or not Sony, but PlayStation has gotten to the point where it's so big, and I agree with Extreme, one guy can't do it anymore, no more. It's just too big. Right? It's just too massive, and there's just too much stuff that one CEO would have to digest, make decisions on, which means like how long, you know, if you're flying out to Japan, but somebody in America needs you to make a decision on something. Now you fly out to America, then Europe, and back to that. And then they want to expand into Africa, China. Like, that's a lot of decision making. Like, even in, like, let's say the United States military, we don't have one 4-star general. We have like 500 of them for a reason, right? they all have to make these decisions on behalf of the Department of Defense because there's just a lot of shit that's just being decided. So you have all these rank structures that are in charge and representative of this stuff. So I think they realize, PlayStation has gotten to the point, especially if they want to expand, they're probably thinking 5-10 years ahead, just like Extreme said. This is just too much for one guy. And I think Jim Ryan was like a case, like a proof of principle, like a proof test concept of, this is too much. Even with our own private planes, this is just too much for me to handle, to make a decision, to digest, to sit in a meeting, to me wondering if a plan is good, a plan is not good. You have to trust more people with these decisions, right? So Herman Hulst, I think he's the perfect person for the first party side, because you see from him being on that side of the house to go from Killzone to Horizon Zero Dawn, that's incredible. And to back it up with an engine that even, this dude from Metal Gear loves, that's amazing. So you can understand that he understands creativity. He understands giving studios a chance to really shine, but he knows how to make a quality game, right? So I think on that aspect, he could get the studios, being at the top, he can help look at studios, be like, no, you're going in the wrong direction. You know what? That's a great idea. He could help manage that stuff, right? And I think he could do also a good job of, merging IPs onto more shows and stuff like that, TVs and merchandise, which I think is what they're also heading to a lot too. What I'm interested in is his plan, and I hope he speaks on it, what he plans to do on PC, right? Is it day and date? Because if he does try to execute day and date on PC, then what is he doing to augment the studios? Because they're going to need manpower and resources, because that's a responsibility. Multi-platform development is not easy, right? So when you have to do 2 platforms at the same time, release the same date, and you still only got 4 or 5 years to make the game, how is he going to bolster that, right? And so I'm interested to see what is actually in store for him in terms of strengthening the first party, because in my opinion, I still believe the first party needs to be strengthened. In my opinion, a first party that can only release 1 or 2 games, maybe 2 games, that's not a remaster or whatever, like 2 new games per generation, I don't see that as something that's good. And I'm not saying both games have to be AAA, but I think something that what Insomniac does, they have a big AAA, but then they also release a nice, good $50 title like Miles Morales. Then they have something nice and different with Ratchet and Clank that even if it's not a super big seller, like 2, 3, 10 million, right? 2, 3 million. But Extreme made a good point. Sometimes the value of that game is what it has in it that you can put towards other games. So Ratchet & Clank tested a lot of concepts and proofs that you saw in Spider-Man 2. They replicated it, right? So that's a good thing too, right? And sometimes smaller budget games are great for new hires, right? You got new hires, you got new guys, but you really don't want to put them in your big AAA project, right? Because you're not really sure how they work. You know what? We're going to release a $50 AA game. Get going, get your juices flowing, get your reps in, learn the technology, learn the culture, but we're not going to put you in the hot seat of the big time AAA. You guys are going to focus on this AA game, which it's a win for everybody. They get the experience. Right. They get a new title. We get new titles. Not every game has to be a $60, $70 game. It could be $50. It could be $40. It could be $60. Things like on the level of Lost Legacy, Miles Morales, stuff like that, right? Or maybe a title like Ratchet and Clank or something like that tests new concepts and stuff like that. And that's the perfect game to be like, we want you guys make this game, but implement these new game mechanics that we're trying to see. And maybe if you execute it well in this game, then we'll start with a new IP and just overdo it, right? So I like Herman Hulst from that aspect, right? But the interesting part is the other guy, right? And I know everybody's focusing on Herman Hulst, right? Because it's all about the first party and the content, right? And I got that, right? But here's the thing, though. Nishino, he holds the true power of PlayStation. Because if you look at everything he's in control of, that's where the majority of the money is. He's responsible for the console hardware. And that's where it all begins. It begins with the hardware. You have to get the hardware into people's house or nothing gets sold, right? So he's going to be like, hey, I control the hardware. He controls the technology. That means if he decides the next PlayStation's RDNA 2.5 or whatever the fuck, that's on his group. Now, this is where we talked about communication between the two. Because on one side of the house, he has the technology, but on the other side of the house, Hearst has all the developers. So they have to really talk when it comes to the next PlayStation. Because it can't just be him, oh, we built the PlayStation. They can't go back to the PS3, PS2 era. They can't go back to that. Where they just build the hardware and then they just force developers to learn and adapt. No. You know, that's where communication between the two has to happen. So that way the developers have input to the technology that's going to be present for future for, you know, the console technology and everything else. Then you have the accessories, but then you have PlayStation Network and third party. And that's why I said he has the real power. Because the number one source of revenue for PlayStation is money transactions and that on content. And then the second most money is console hardware. And the third most money is software sales, but majority of it is third party. So he has a huge chunk of PlayStation that is money driven. Like most of the money is going to come from him. From the third party sales to the money transactions and now you accessories and shit like that. That's all on him. And then the future of the brand is in his lane. What does the PlayStation 6 look like? What technologies is going to be in there? What's the evolution of the controller? How's the evolution of PlayStation Network and subscription plans? All that shit is him. So I found it interesting. He's controlling pretty much the lion's share of the money of PlayStation. Now, I know we all look at Halls because of the games, but the first party money, that's minuscule compared to everything that Nishino holds. He has all the money of the PlayStation, stuff like that. So I just find that interesting that the majority of the bulk of money power, financial power, is in Nishino's hands, right? But Halls is like this. It's like a football team, right? Offense gets the glory, but defense wins the games, right? So Nishino got the defense, right? But Halls got the glory. Everybody's going to look at him like everybody's going to pay attention to Halls, right? Because the first party games, you even see it now. Everybody's asking Halls, what you going to do? What you going to do? Nobody cares about Nishino. But the reality is the most important, I ain't going to say the most important piece, but the biggest piece of PlayStation is in Nishino's hands. He holds majority of the money and revenue in that game, right? Now, the thing I like about that is they put third party in his hands, not in Hall's hands. So Halls, hey, just worry about the first party, get that right, focus on that, churn out some games, whatever. But I'm going to still go after these third parties. And the beauty of part about that is if they separated the two CEOs like that, chances are they might have a variation of budgets. So Hearst will have his budget and he's going to do things. And Nishino's going to have his budget. And the beautiful part is, part of that decision making is, what third party titles I could go out there? And he could put in the work. He can travel. He could get on the logistics plane. So when Halls is in America talking to Naughty Dog and Insomniac, and he has to be there to make sure that games is right, things are going, whatever, Nishino could be in Japan or in Europe, be like, yo, what that third party title looking there? Ooh, yeah. He could go back to Square Enix. Listen, I know Square, things are going shaky, but come on, let's still talk. We have a good relationship. Come on, we could work something out. And Halls is not taking time in dealing with that. Hearst doesn't have to go around and deal with, you know, which third party is coming, which is not, what's exclusive, what isn't exclusive. You don't have to worry about that. He could put his attention towards Naughty Dog, 100% attention to Insomniac and any other first party studio, and all that other stuff about PSN, you know, Portal, what games is going on monthly. He's like, I'm not worried about that shit. That got nothing to do with me. So you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like this because I think, like everyone just demonstrated, they're going to be zoning focused, right? But the main thing is there's going to be a crossroad where they have to get together. And I think that crossroad is the technology part. I think the technology is the one part that Nishino controls. That's going to have a conversation with PlayStation because the whole point of the technology is for that first party to really shine. So that's where they really definitely need to talk on, hey, this is technology, this is the plan of PlayStation 6, we all need together and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's where I think it's going to be where they really have to, you know what I'm saying, coordinate and stuff like that. But I really like this because I think each one could go hard on what they need to do, but not worry about, like Nishino doesn't have to worry about how's the first party doing. I think Jim Ryan, you know, he put on one half a third party, But then he's thinking, damn, what's going on with first party? Then he goes over with first party. He's like, shit, what's happening with my third party? Then he's worrying about both. Damn, what's going on with Portal or with PlayStation VR and all that stuff? Like, it's probably a lot. And it's just, especially if you're planning to do a lot of stuff, like TV shows, like VR could use some help. So I think VR under Nishino will help. I think he'll have more bandwidth to do more for VR than what Jim Ryan. I think Jim Ryan, he did the best he could, but he had too much. It was just way too many things, way too much. The man's already old as fuck. He looked like Bernie Sanders. He was already out the door. You know what I'm saying? He was probably on every drug prescription possible just to survive. It was just probably too much. And when you think about it, almost every big project is like huge for PlayStation. VR is huge, right? At least they're trying to make it huge, right? Obviously, the first party is huge. That's probably the gas games. That alone was probably a huge project. It was just a lot of shit that they had to invest. And one guy to like just sit there all day and try to piece it all together was probably too much. So I think this is going to be really good. I think this is going to, I'm just interested in is Sony, because they mentioned they're going to talk more about their midterm strategy later this month at the corporate meeting on the 23rd. So in a couple of weeks on the 23rd, they're going to talk about their strategy. I'm really interested to see what is their strategy and how they're going to manage it. And keep in mind, now it's two people talking. Before it was one, Jim Ryan and any CEO before him talking holistically. Now it's going to be two presentations. One specifically for PlayStation Studio Business Group, and then the other one for Platinum Business Group, and they're both going to speak on their own behalf on their own strategy. So this is going to be really interesting how that plays out.
Yo, do you want to get a super chat first?
Okay, yeah, let's get this. We got the Brain says, "Yo, fellas, watching but can't join. I'm traveling." Oh, my man's traveling all around the world in the Street Fighter tournament. Right, you do your thing. Whoop that ass. All right, and then of course Malice Flair says, "I hope Hideki Nishino is a hard negotiator. The licensing deal with Disney for Spider-Man is ridiculous." You know what though? But that's Spider-Man, bro. That's Spider-Man.
One has to do with the other.
Yo, you sound low, Craig. Is he sounding low?
Oh, I moved away from the mic. Yeah, I kind of moved back from the mic. Yeah, Spider-Man comes out of the Sony Motion Pictures, and that's who they're negotiating with. So that has nothing to do with Sony SIE. It's two separate things.
You still sound low.
Speaking to
yeah, you sound real low.
You
were fine.
To your thoughts on
what's up?
I was saying, speaking to your thoughts on
okay.
What?
No, I was saying Craig just sounded, for some reason he just went low.
Is it better now?
Okay.
He's just got chocolate thunder in the back there. Giving him the cookies.
I do have to head out.
Man.
I do appreciate it though.
Damn, bro. Like at this point, this show's gonna get to the point where take a shot if you hear the word chocolate thunder. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit! Like, that dude is always on this show. Like fuck. Like man, so what you were saying, Extreme? What you were saying?
Yo, I was saying, speaking to your thoughts on the dual architecture here. Another thing we have to remember is that these people are also paired up within their own departments. So, for example, you've got Herman Hulse, and he's also got Shuhei Yoshida, right? Yeah. So you don't have all of it for the one person. Hideaki Nishino also has Mark Cerny. So when you talked about making the decisions for the hardware, Mark Cerny is the architect. Yeah. And Hideaki Nishino was always about the platform experience, speaking more from the software side. He was always the one heading, what does the PlayStation 5 UI look like, what are its capabilities and everything like that. So they've got that duality within their roles as well, and we also know about, for example, you talked about third-party negotiation. It's not either of those. It's a woman who is the head of third-party negotiation. I don't remember her name, but she was the one that opened the State of Play, right? She opened one of them State of Plays, and she was at the head of like third party and everything like that. So that's what she does. So I think it's impossible for us to predict how successful this particular arrangement will be. But if you were a betting man, the good news would be that every single one of these people are from within Sony. These are people that have been there for decades. It's not a case of bringing someone from the outside in. I think for me, that would have been the worst thing that they could possibly do. Bring somebody that is brand new to the business, that doesn't understand the creative nature or even just the culture at Sony. Because, they have a particular culture, they are extremely Japanese/European led, I don't think that they've ever really had like an American CEO, So I think when it comes to the work ethic, that's important because, okay, I believe most American CEOs, they like the public facing aspect to their job. They like being out there, they like talking a little bit too early. That's typically what they do, not just picking on Xbox, but, take a look at Elon Musk, take a look at so many other, I guess, CEO personas. The ones that you hear the most about are typically American. So, and it's like, yeah, they like the braggadocious side of things. And I think that's a different work ethic, to a company like Sony that has been a lot more conservative, they're a lot more quiet, The Japanese are famous for, just go to work, put in 5 years, and then come out when it's ready, And the Europeans are like that on a, slightly more flexible scale. But they definitely kind of land on that side of the house. So bringing somebody from the outside that wasn't going to understand that culture, or even if they were Japanese or European, that would have just worked in like BP or something, like the oil industry, and they're just trying to like drain up their resources in order to make a short-term profit. That also would have been a worrying sign. But no, everybody here is from Sony. They've been there for decades, and it's hard to imagine a better fit from the people that we know working at Sony.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mark Cerny, which is a huge one because they let that guy pretty much with the architecture. He knew it's kind of like he knew what they wanted, what gamers wanted in their games, what they wanted in their actual technology. So that's actually huge right there with him being intertwined in this particular deal. Because I don't know if you guys watched the little video short that he had. It was like 15 minutes where he was talking about the architecture, the Tempest audio, the chipset, things of that nature, and how they let him run with it. And that's huge. And with it being all in-house like that, I don't see nowhere but just going up. So
okay, you know what? You have a great point because there's a lot of role players, but I would say one key PlayStation promotes from within, and I think the important part, and you hit it on the nail, is understanding the identity of the brand. Because you're right, if you just grab somebody from a totally different company, whatever, just because they were successful in some type of business, 9 times out of 10 they try to bring what they know into the new business instead of learning and trying to mold and adopt. They just try to bring what they know because that's what made them successful. And by right, if I get hired, then obviously you hired me because of what I know. So clearly you want me to put this into your business, and it could just completely disrupt stuff, right? So great point on that one. The fact that they still, and I like you mentioned some stuff like, for example, Nishino was prior PlayStation experience, so he's all about the experience, right? Which is an art form in of itself, right? Like these guys, they have to sit down, learn the psychology of, hey, how does a gamer respond to this? How would they enjoy this experience that we're about to bring to them? So having that mindset and him working with the people that's going to be under his staff, looking at accessories, the portal, and we're going to talk about that because apparently it exceeded expectations that even like the analysts were surprised how well in demand that thing is. But just things like that, so I would imagine him and working with, the staff members, trying to get, what games out there that's really going to bring an enjoyable experience that they actually want. Because I think that's the key, right? Make games that people actually want, not just simply to say, oh, they got creative freedom or variety. Because I like your last video when you talked about how it was the gamers and the media that failed Tango Works in them, not Microsoft. Because everybody loves to use the terms creative freedom and originality and diversity, but none of that matters if we don't buy the games. If people don't buy the games, if people really don't want to play the games, then what's the point of praising them? The games aren't meant to be praised sitting on a shelf. Like you praise games because you want to play them. That's it.
Right.
Even if it's the same derivative game, if that's what you're buying and playing, then that's just how it is. But there's no point in praising, oh man, look at the creativity. Man, I missed the Sony. No one bought the games. They're useless.
Yep.
Games that don't get played, games that don't get bought are useless. There's no point in having them. There's no point in keeping a developer if that's all they're able to do, right? If the developer hasn't shown to be like, you know what, we could shift and pivot, like Guerrilla. I think Guerrilla did a good shift and pivot. Because I don't think Killzone was hitting.
Absolutely.
I don't think
nobody
Killzone was hitting. If all they could do was first-person shooters, they would have been gone. Because Shell Shock flopped.
Yeah.
Killzone, only really one game was a hit, which was Killzone 2. Killzone 3 was mediocre. Killzone Shadowfall bombed. So another Killzone, or hey, let me do another first-person shooter, and it still flops. Guerrilla would have been, they would have been iced. They would have been gone. They had to evolve and do something completely different, which is fine. Maybe you thought you were this studio, but in the end you realize, you know what? That's like with me, when people like the talk of they don't like the idea of Insomniac being the Marvel studio. I love that idea. I absolutely love it. I fucking love it. I love it. I don't care if the world hates me for it. I love it because number one, it's not like we have a lot of developers that are dedicated to comic book games. So you can't say the market is oversaturated with comic book developers. It's not, right? And then the few that we do have, most of them suck, right? Even Rocksteady, which was one of the chosen ones, they end up making goddamn Suicide Squad, right? So we don't have a lot of great AAA comic book gamers, right? And guess what? Those are the games people buy. People are buying the shit out of Insomniac's comic book games. When Wolverine comes out, I guarantee that one game's going to outsell the entire Ratchet & Clank franchise. It's going to outsell it. That one game is going to sell more copies than the entire franchise legacy of Ratchet & Clank, starting from the PS2 to the most recent one with they just did on PlayStation 5. Wolverine is going to outsell all of it. It's not even going to be competition. One game is going to outsell, and it's going to outsell the entire franchise of Ratchet & Clank. It's going to outsell the entire franchise of Resistance, right? The other games we don't even know about, Fuse, Swang, Song, whatever the fuck. Wolverine's gonna eclipse all of it. So how can you not expect them to make more Marvel games when those games are exceedingly outselling all the original projects, Insomniac has ever done? It's a wrap. You would be a fool. Like, even if I worked on Insomniac, I'd be like, yo, I can't be mad. We make a Marvel game, it sells 10, 15, 20 million. I make Ratchet & Clank 3, that shit sells 2. Fuck that. If that's
they're batting 1,000.
That's what the game is.
You just see the name Insomniac. All you gotta do is see the name Insomniac. You're like, oh, they're making Wolverine. It's fun. I mean, that is period point blank. So
sometimes you just like, sometimes it is what it is. Again, I use back Michael Jordan reference. He was garbage in baseball. Like, you gotta stop, bro. You gotta get back to basketball. God did not give you the skill sets for this. You gotta do what sometimes you're blessed with. Insomniac realized, this is the most successful we ever been. It's puts food on the table. We all have jobs, we're doing very well. The company's growing to numbers that they never did before. You're not gonna go back to the shit just because we want creative freedom and we just want the feeling of making a game, even though most likely no one's gonna buy it. Like, no, dog. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put your own job at risk? That alone, if I was Insomniac, I'd be like, no, we're going to get another Marvel game. Oh, but don't you want to do something creative? I have a mortgage to pay. All right? Creative freedom don't pay my mortgage. I need to eat. Right. I got kids that go to school. The hell is wrong with you? I don't want creative freedom and then the game flops and Sony lays us off. The hell is wrong with you? We got to keep making them 10 million hitters. And Marvel has a lot of IP. Lots. Yes. You could be creative with any IP that's there if you want to be creative. But
be creative,
Marvel IP, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna run that shit to the ground until the day I retire, but that's just how it is. Well, anyway. But let's talk
Doctor Strange on from Insomniac.
Somebody has to.
I mean, they basically had a mission that was based on that.
You saw that, right?
So I'm just
that's why. it would be insane for them not to take Doctor Strange. They already have the technology. It's just insane.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Here we go. Going down. Let's see. Psycho Gamer, Extreme. What is that velvet? See, everybody looking at that velvet.
Yo, listen.
I'm telling you,
Pimpin',
you know, the velvet, son. That's cashmere, dog. He got the purple cashmere. You know what I'm saying? He pimping. Bro, my bad.
Yeah, next week alligator skin. You'll see.
He came in flossing, bro. Oh, she came on this podcast flossing, bro. Vedja, he says, wonder when Mark Cinny gets his own seat at SIE.
That's a good question. And it's a question of, I think he doesn't want it. Because as a consultant, you probably get paid more. You work less, more on your own, you know, kind of your own pace and everything. If you had that kind of a gig, I can tell you, you don't want to be signed for the company. I work as a photographer. I work with as partner to businesses on projects. I would not want to be hired by them because the amount of pay that I would get suddenly goes whoosh. Not only would they tell you that, hey, listen, do all of these administrative roles. And also, don't you know how to use a camera? Yeah, but do that, but for free.
It is, yeah. Contractors, while it's a short work experience because it's like maybe depending on the contract, but you get paid a lot. While that contract is active, you getting the money, and you are only doing what the contract says.
The one job, exactly. Exactly.
Hey, fellas, I got to go ahead and hop, but I appreciate you letting me rock it out with y'all.
All right.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, last fellas. Part. Thank you, Jimmy, man. Thank you so much for rocking through. Now the last part. And I know the J-Dub, the antagonist here. So, Sony's financials came out, right? And oh my God. Oh my God. Let me go read through some of this, right?
So I haven't seen them, but I just want to say they're not successful enough. That's the
not enough, right? The industry
not enough.
Need
not
more.
Enough. I'm disappointed.
So
I'm disappointed. Whatever plus they have, they should have been plus more.
It should have been plus.
Exactly.
Right. Braxton Bow, he says anyone claiming that PlayStation and Xbox are in the same boat at these latest financial result isn't being honest. Oh, absolutely.
No, anyone claiming that is a gaming media personality. That's what they do.
It's because here it is. So a couple of weeks ago when Microsoft released their financials, it was ultimately for Xbox. It was ultimately came down to ABK just absolutely saving Xbox. If it wasn't for ABK, everything would be negative across the board. While on PlayStation, they released their full year and quarter four results. Annual revenue was up 17% to a record $29.8 billion, a new record for the company. Software sales were up 24% at $14.1 billion. Okay, 4.5 billion PS5 sold in quarter four. Now, this is a negative 29% drop from their record setting last year, which was 6.3 million from last quarter. So this is quarter to quarter comparisons. But
nasty work.
But let me see, where's that point? For that quarter though, profits rose with the operating income. 868 billion, which is 172% over the last quarter. So while they sold more consoles last quarter, they extremely
that's because of PC.
This quarter, PC, there you go. Maybe right? Okay. Now, 20.8 million PS5 sold in FY23. 9% year-over-year growth from FY 2022. It's a
Phil
narrow
Spencer would have
miss.
sold 40.
What? Oh, yeah.
Phil Spencer would have sold 40.
Sure, yeah.
He would have sold 40. Yeah, they should get Phil Spencer there.
Absolutely. It's a narrow miss on the revised 21 million, but a record year for PS5, and it's higher than the highest selling PS4 year, which was 20 million. So this year sold more than the highest selling year PS4 had. Keep in mind, that year PS4 was being sold for $300. The PS5 was sold for $400 or more. And in some areas, even higher because they raised the price, right? Lifetime PS5 sales are now 59.3 million. Okay, just 800K less from the PS4 timed the line. Keep in mind, PlayStation 5 had COVID. Not enough.
Failure.
Here we go. Operating income was at 2 billion FY23, a 16% increase over FY 2022. 118 million monthly active PSN users as of March 31st, 2024, up 9.25%, right? Forecasting 18 million PS5 console sales for 24, but with higher operating profit. So they expect to make. So my thing, they're not going to drop the price. So you can forget about price drops. They're not. So all the people, especially if the Pro comes out, and people thought, oh yeah, they'll drop the price to like 300 and 400 and the Pro 6. No, that ain't happening.
No way.
That's exactly what that means. They're going to sell those consoles because they're not going to drop the price, but they're going to make more profit because of it. Yep. Don't expect sales increase from first party in FY24, but do FY25 and 26. So that means the first major first party title to launch will start around April 2025 and beyond. Sony says they will invest the most in music segment, whatever, followed by PlayStation. So music is the number one priority. PlayStation is the number two priority for investment. And Sony Group has also set aside $11.5 billion for investments, acquisitions over the next few years. So we'll see what that. So let me get also another. So besides that, here's some more. PlayStation Portal demand has exceeded supply for several months, says tracking firm Circana. PlayStation Portal has regularly been sold out since its November launch since last year. Okay, another data point. This is from ZooHayX. PlayStation 5 shipped 4.5 million units in the last quarter. According to our estimates, this is almost 5 times more than the Xbox Series X and S shipped in the same period. So if you do the math, that's around 900K for Xbox. That means in the quarter, Microsoft didn't even sell 1 million consoles in the entire quarter. That is,
you know what that means actually?
Insane.
You know what that means? That means that Sony could stop selling PlayStations right now, and they will outsell Xbox in the entire year.
Catch up. Xbox will never.
No. I mean, this entire year they've already outsold them just in the first quarter. That's crazy.
Insane.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Absolutely insane. And this is why I think we all mentioned this, right? And I know I definitely mentioned this. Xbox problems is not PlayStation's problems. Sure, does PlayStation want to increase operating profit? That's just business 101. You want more money. You want to make bigger profits. You want lower costs, higher, profit margins. That's just business 101. And sometimes it can lead into greed where you actually do too much. But that's, I think, is the Sony problem. Are they doing normal business practices to improve profit margins? Are they getting too greedy? That's, to me, is where Sony problems lies. Hopefully they're not getting too greedy. Xbox problem is just the fact that the brand sucks and nothing's going right for that brand. Like, nothing's going right. The only thing they literally did right, it wasn't even an Xbox thing. It was a Microsoft thing, which was buy AVK. Yeah. That was it. Everything else is failing. Game Pass, failing. Day-and-date PC, failing. Cloud and all that shit, just failing. It's just, everything is just collapsing. Everything's just not sustainable and stuff, right? So here's my question to you, Extreme. These factual numbers are showing there's a stark difference between PlayStation and Xbox. PlayStation is absolutely successful. Absolutely across the board, right? Xbox is clearly failing across the board, okay? Why are people still trying to create narratives as if PlayStation is in the same sinkhole as Xbox, when clearly Satya would absolutely love Xbox to even be half as successful as PlayStation right now? Just half. If they could get Xbox to half of what PlayStation is doing, that would be absolutely amazing for him. So what is going on with this intent to make PlayStation look like Xbox in terms of failure?
Yo, I don't understand exactly at which point we establish this codependency, this toxic, dishonest codependency between Xbox and the gaming media. I'm not sure exactly at which point, but I definitely feel that while it wasn't the catalyst for it, the moment where Xbox revealed its console and let the media have an access that Sony just did not let them have. Because remember, the media was banging the drum as the fanboys were, where is the PlayStation 5? Why have we seen the PlayStation 5? Then when they revealed it, it was, hey, how much is this thing going to cost? Oh my God, it's going to cost so much more. And they were pom-pomming and kind of, shouting out the twisted, deranged machinations of people saying that, oh, Resident Evil can barely run on PlayStation 5, this can barely do this can barely do that. They were hoodwinked by the whole teraflops talk, even though Mark Cerny warned them, even though everybody else that had half a brain told them no other piece of technology is ranked on just one specification. They went all in with Xbox and the expectation for it. And let's face it, there is something poetic about betting on the underdog. And they fully bought into that idea of, okay, Microsoft is this underdog, Xbox is this underdog. We must shield them, we must promote them, we must boost them, we must help them reach, remember the henjutsu that Destiny always did? They fully bought into that.
What's crazy? This is what's
the
crazy
financial
about that.
henjutsu, he was always
like I don't know why he ever said those words. Like, I don't understand how any person, like, I have to think Destin is reasonable and logical on basic fundamentals. It has to be. I don't know what made him ever think that Xbox Series had a chance of even being close, let alone claim that by the end of the gen they would equal out. I don't know what made him say that. Like, there was no data at that point. None. There was no data point. Still showing that.
The thing is, scientists, they run an experiment in order to determine a conclusion. Bad scientists come up with a conclusion, and then they want to run experiments to prove that conclusion. But the thing is, people in the Xbox mentality, they just come up with a fairy tale and they don't even try to prove it. They don't even try to match it with reality at all. They don't even run the experiment. They're just like, yep, if we mix these two, this is the result we'll get. And everyone's like, hey, but have you tried it? And they're like, yeah, okay, did you get the results? No, but we're pretty sure we will get it. We're pretty sure it's just... somebody messed up somewhere. It doesn't matter. We're pretty sure it worked this way. Don't worry. Trust us, bro. Because I asked him specifically, this is back in the day when I didn't have any Twitter presence or whatsoever. And I went to his comments and I was like, what on earth are these people doing that make you think this thing will happen? And it was a combination of all of the greatest ingredients that always fail, right? It was Game Pass. It was the Series S. It was the dual strategy. It was the power narrative. It was remember the word salad? The ALLM, the RDNA, the VHS, the VHR, the DVD, the Blu-ray, the cache scrubbers and the mesh shaders. We had
so much shit.
We had so much shit.
Like, we had new technology and everybody was an expert on something that wasn't even being used yet.
What's
not
funny?
Being used. Like,
the funniest thing to me is that Mark Cerny was lambasted, dragged across the street, right, for having his little TED talk when he spoke technology, and he had less terminology in that than they do. And yet all of these people didn't even get a talk to make them understand what each of these things was supposed to do theoretically, but they were all experts on it. They were literally just experts in the streets telling you about how all of these things were going to be the differentiating factor. I mean, people were not, it wasn't close. It wasn't one thing. This would be a 30 to 40% difference. And this is from people like Tom Warren. So this is the media buying into this fairy tale. And it's like a collective hysteria. I feel like these people should be analyzed. What happened at the beginning of this Xbox generation should actually be analyzed by sociologists to be like, there were no indication of this. You had all of the power of the internet. All of human knowledge and experience is in your phone. And you still fell for this bullshit that you promoted yourself like you were in a cult. And this is across an entire media space. And this time you can't say that, it's a political agenda. No. This is people from all over the world, not just the American media, but also Europeans and everything like that. And they all believed into this bullshit. So now, it's like reality doesn't please them. And that's why you talked about it before, right? That's why Xbox problems have to be PlayStation problems. That's why it doesn't please them. They don't like facts anymore. They just want to be like, no. Despite the overwhelming success, and I've always said that, I I remember in so many videos, whether it was Destin or some other person. Oh no, Podcast Unlocked, and what was that IGN show that they used to do? They did something like next gen console. Something they had a program like that where they would put their two representatives of like each side head to head, and a next gen console watch. That's the one that they have. They will always go, and then you have the PlayStation guy come in. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's looking scary out here. Just like, we just released a banger. It's selling like a crap ton, but fuck." Yeah, Sony might not make it out next week. And then conversely, you will have the Xbox guy going, "Hey, Game Pass, man. Game Pass, man. Hey, that's the best deal in gaming, man. I mean, we haven't released anything, but don't worry about us.
They might as well have Doc Dark on the channel at this point.
Exactly.
You might as well give him some shine.
Exactly. We love it here. We love it. And I will always go to the comments like, "Oh, I'm sorry. PlayStation is just suffering from all of this rampant success. Like, how are they ever going to recover?"
I want to first give a shout out to Baldante. He just gifted 20 more members. So now 20 of you became members. Thank you so much. Give him a shout out, man. Hit him up. Give him some love. If you are now a member, thanks to Ball, hit him up. Say thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. You know what that means? It's time to spam some smileys. Get out there. Right? But thank you so much. And hit the like button. We got 396 viewers up in here. 48 new members. Man, I hope you guys stick around. But I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the show. Right? But here's the thing. Like, all right, I could maybe understand... it's kind of like you want a bold prediction. So in the beginning of the gen, you're going to go all in. It's a clean slate. PlayStation has new technology. Xbox has new technology. You want to make a call. Because, it's like any game. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you know what? I'm going to shoot my shot. Yeah. But once you miss, the game's over. You lost. Don't pretend you're still playing the game. Like no one's in the stadium. You're by yourself on the court. The game's over.
Half the team came out missing.
Now it's time. Like you had your opportunity. You missed your shot. Now it's time to just accept the facts, accept things are going, and inform the community on the factual situation of what's going on. But they're not doing that. They are still acting like either Xbox is doing great, or if it's not doing great, it's because everyone's fucked up. Like it can't be just simply Xbox just sucks, and that's the answer. You know what I'm saying? It's just absolutely insane. Like this new, like you can clearly see the positive numbers, right? The only thing they're focusing on is the fourth quarter, console. Since it only sold 4.5 million, it's a 29% drop. That's the only information they're all focusing on. They're not focusing on anything else. They're only saying, Sony's in trouble, 29% drop. Never mind that throughout the whole year, they actually sold more consoles. 9% increase. They actually made more profit. They actually made more money. They actually got higher game sales. Like all the numbers are up. Even their favorite topic, MAUs. You know how these guys love MAUs. They're not even bringing that up. They love them. They're only talking about the one quarter, and that's only because it's being compared to last quarter, which was record breaking. It was record breaking. Yes. You're not going to break records every fucking quarter. It's not going to happen.
No, you have to. If you're PlayStation, you have to.
Yeah.
If you're PlayStation, you have to do the impossible. Yep.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh yeah.
And let's not forget that last quarter was also
20. Hold up. Knicks are up 20 with. Wait, Knicks are up 20 with. Shut the fuck up. Don't lie to me. Hold on. Go talk. Say something.
While he's doing something completely unimportant, I will just remind you guys that last quarter, last year.
I forgot about my Knicks.
Last year, this is when Sony just got the relief of finally not having the hardware restrictions. So the fact that it was a record-breaking quarter in part had to do with the fact that it was just pent-up demand that had been building and that was finally being addressed. So yes, you are not going to see the same thing happen over and over again, especially in these economic conditions, because that's another thing that we don't talk about when we analyze these things, right? We don't talk about where the world is, and at the moment it's an expensive place to spend money, you know. So money is expensive right now. The prices are not going to drop this entire generation. So do not be surprised if that has an effect, you know, where eventually the PlayStation 5 doesn't sell as much as the PlayStation 4 would have, because that had benefits of the price drops. And then Sony is going to make more money because obviously you keep the price higher, you don't need as many people to buy the product. But yeah, listen, it's so disingenuous. And you know, you mentioned my video before, and if everybody hasn't watched my video, it's on the channel.
It is good.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta let something out. Can I let something out? I need a few seconds.
Sure.
Knicks is whooping your ass, Indiana. Shut the fuck up. That's it. I had to let it go. All right, there we go.
Are you sure? You want a minute? I feel like I don't know anything about the Knicks.
Bro, you don't understand that they called it the Mother's Day Massacre because they whooped that ass 2 days ago. It was bad. They got us almost like 30. You know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you're saying that the Knicks are the Xbox of basketball?
No. Oh, I did for a long time. I admitted it. Literally,
okay.
Except I admit it. I didn't pretend Knicks were world championships. I admitted like, this team sucks. But now they're really good because they are.
So that they're becoming Nintendo. They're becoming Nintendo. They went from the Wii U to the Switch.
They're getting. Yes.
All right, I see you. It's a Switch moment. They're switching up. They're switching up. There you go. They're switching up. I like it.
Pacers, suck it. Hey, all right, now we go on. Hey,
one day I'm gonna do the exact same thing for actual football. You know,
I got you. You know, go. Manchester United. La
Liga.
Yeah,
exactly, man.
You know what's the problem? I try to learn. European football. You know, the world sport, right?
Yeah.
You guys got too many fucking leagues, and you play all year round. Like you don't stop.
It is the world game.
Listen,
everybody wants to play.
They got Premier League, La Liga, like they got leagues within leagues, and when they win within leagues, they go to another
league. That's just the A-leagues.
To win
That's
the
just
other
the A-leagues
league,
you're talking about.
And then the other league to fight another league, right? And then when it's all over, I gotta go back to my country and represent my own country. That's a whole new season. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That's way too much. Like, it don't stop. I don't know when a championship starts and when it ends. It never
ends.
I have to ask, are they champions? Like, but it's just this. Now they have to move on to this stage. So I'm like, so they're champions, but they still have to compete for another champion. Goes, yes. So then
you're world champion.
No. But then you have to go for this champion. All right. So then you're world champions. No, that happens 4 years from now for the World Cup. Yeah. I'm like, get out of here, bro. Like, nah.
But listen, everybody wants a piece.
It's like a soap opera.
Everybody needs
that. Shit's not ending.
Listen.
Ending. You will die.
Everybody needs
that soap opera will continue. Like they want.
Listen, we don't take any time off. The goalkeepers are always ready, so are defense. So are defense. You're gonna follow your favorite players everywhere they go.
Soccer, I thought baseball was bad. Like, no, baseball, we actually stop. Like, baseball stops.
But you guys only play by yourselves. This is the problem with your sports. You're just only within your little island.
But the problem is, the sports that we're good at, the rest of the world don't give a fuck. So we're naturally the best.
So they're not good sports.
But actually,
except for basketball. Basketball is great. Right. Basketball is a great sport.
But even though it's not as big as popular, a lot of countries do love baseball. Like Japan, when I was stationed there, oh my God. I love watching them play baseball. I love watching them play baseball. They don't piss around. They look like samurais out there. I'm like, holy shit. These guys are disciplined. They don't fuck around. They stuff. So I give them props. Japan.
Baseball we could take from
the World Baseball Classic. Japan just whooped our ass. They whooped America's ass. They're fucking good. Japan is good. They don't play. They live.
Yeah, listen.
They live by the Bushido code. But I want to end off with this, right? I want to end off. Give me your final point on this. With let me ask you this.
Sure.
Final point, okay? Do you think we will ever get back to when journalists and content creators, at least a majority, not everybody, there's always going to be a fuckboy among us, but do you think we'll ever get back to where they just be like, you know what, we're going to stop this capping shit. We're going to stop feeling sorry for Xbox or whatever. it's just whatever is what it is. We're just going to report the facts, and we're just going to present it, so that way at least we have a more informed community? Or do you think it's always going to be this way? Because to me, it just sounds like they cater to the emotional aspect. Like, for example, it's better to just focus on the one bad part on PlayStation, because letting the community know, well, even though they only sold 4.5 million consoles this quarter, the whole year they sold more consoles, they sold more games, they made more money, they made more profit, they got more users to play on PlayStation. It sounds like nobody wants to hear, or they don't want to present that information. And why? Why are they so hard driven on the one negative, which is really insignificant? Because even though they only sold 4.5 million consoles in a quarter, compared to Xbox only sold 900K. And in that quarter, they made more profit. So even if you only sold less consoles, if you made more profit, that's the ultimate end all be all. So what, like, will we ever get back to, or are they gonna have to rely on us to provide? Because we can't do it.
We were never there. You talk about we will never get back to. Were we ever there? That's my question.
I could have, I'm gonna be honest. I felt at least in the PS2, 360 era, PS3 era, there was more brutal honest. Like that gen, them motherfuckers came out and said PS3 is fucking garbage. They were out there. When 360 had the red ring of death, nobody was hiding that shit. They were out there. They were out there headhunting across the board. Like nobody was safe. Nobody was safe. Everybody was getting it, right? So it seemed like back then they were willing to say, but when you did good, they were willing to say good. The game sales. They were more transparent with the game sales. Back then, MPD, they actually, when they did the top charts, it wasn't by franchise. It was actually by platform. So let's say like the Call of Duty on the Xbox 360 version was the number one selling game. That would be number one. Then they show the number two version, which is the PS2. They actually broke it down by platform. So you can actually see which game sold better on what platform. It was a lot more transparent. No one really tried to pick a side from the industry part. If you fucked up, they were quick to say all that stuff. They had no problems mentioning all the bones in the closets, whatever. But at the same time, if you did good, they were quick to say, oh, look at this, look at that, look at this game, look at that. Like they were quick to thrash PlayStation for the $600 price point and the grill-looking shape. But then they also praised it when they dropped it down to $299 and released games like Uncharted and Demon's Souls. It just gave this is what you guys presented. We're just reporting what you presented. We're not going to twist or try to change it to make you look good. It's whatever you did, the industry just repeated it. It wasn't their fault. If you made your product look like shit, that was on you. If you made it look great, that's on you. But now it's like, okay, here's this information. All right, which part I can pick to make this look good? All right, and which part I can make to make this look bad? Because making this look bad is what really will get me the hits. That's what it looks like to me. Because the truth is, after this quarter, if you are a gamer, content creator, an analyst, a journalist, anything in gaming, and you track gaming, and you don't outright say, all right, guys, listen, regardless of the troubles in the industry, PlayStation is killing it. Overall, this is a successful brand. They found success. Sure, they might have little issues here and there. Nothing's perfect. But this is what a successful console looks like in a generation. Full stop. If nobody can admit that, then at this point, what's the point of having even future conversations when you can't admit the obvious?
Listen. I am extremely pessimistic when it comes to this point. Number one, there's a financial aspect to it that we must not ignore, right? The clickbaity nature, the appealing to a fan base that is highly engaged with your content. Because at the end of the day, listen, you don't need 1 million subscribers. If you had 1,000 subscribers that were willing to pay $10 a month and upwards for your membership or your content or whatever, that's all you really need. So these people are not trying to appeal necessarily or to have the most informed, broad, kind of like user base that is going to lightly engage. Every single time they bring intellectual topics, they appeal to the logic and reason and all of these unsexy things. No. Better for them to go and find a few rabid fan bases. And let's face it, who are the ones that are most likely to fall for that shit? Xbox fans.
Just say,
so that
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that is the economical aspect. Here's another thing. These people are fanboys themselves. I don't know exactly when gaming journalist was taken over by fanboys, but you cannot separate a Destin Legari from what Team Dog used to be, or from a Kid Smooth. Like if you take away the badge of whatever institution they work for that is supposed to give them credibility, take that away, and the rhetoric is, yes, they might speak differently, but what they actually say, the rhetoric within the message within their words is extremely similar to something that you will see from an Xbox fanboy, like an admittedly Xbox fanboy. So it's like they are fanboys themselves, even though they're the right people that participate in the console war, quote unquote, and yet they are some of the biggest and worst proponents of it because they don't even go back and forth with anyone. At least people like Kid Smooth will go back and forth with people on Twitter. At least he will put videos and get comments back and answer those comments. At least he will tell you straight up front, like, I'm a fanboy for this thing, so my perspective is colored and I have no shame about it. But no.
Miss it.
Exactly. But they don't even do that.
That are obviously, and they pretend they're neutral. Like, bro.
Exactly,
Like, not even close. You're not even close to neutral.
Yep.
But
yep. When Tom Warren said, the 30 to 40% gap will always be there,
oh my God. Like, bro, yo, you can't make this shit up. Like, you cannot guarantee theoretical specs. There is so much, and rest in peace, Optimus Code. He's like, never count on theoretical specs because that's just the theoretical. After that comes the hard work, and sometimes. Yep. No matter how good you are, you just can't pull it out of the console for whatever reason. This shit is just not matching. It just doesn't work, Yep. Shout out to Ball Dante. He says, "Damn, bro, got me with the financial hand jujitsu." Like, wow, like fucking Daniel San, bro. Like, yo, Destin, bro, that dude was crazy when he did that shit.
I don't even understand.
Did he do it with two hands?
Yeah, he had the two hands at some point. Yeah, exactly.
He double fisted that shit. He's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, Xbox gonna do it. Like, you gonna.
He treated Alina the plug.
Boy, you crazy, bro? That shit was crazy. But hey, we're gonna leave it with that. We're gonna leave it with that, with the Destin.
That's a final image. That's a final image in the minds.
I'm gonna leave you all with this. So when you go to bed at night, I'll be in your dreams doing this. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, thank you so much for rocking out with the show. This is your only friend, these YouTube Streets Porter77. Of course, we got Extreme. Check out his channel, Fireside Chat.
Check it out.
Yo, hey, when you do those things in the morning when I go to work, because I usually get like a 30-minute drive and then 30 minutes coming back, perfect time, bro. But
hey, listen, I'm glad it serves people.
All right. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, to all the people that got memberships, please thank the people that gifted the memberships. I truly appreciate the support. I'm glad you guys doing this, yo. And listen, like I said before, anytime you hear anyone say, oh, it's an industry problem, that is code word for PlayStation 1, we just don't want to admit it. So whenever you hear somebody write it, talk about it, or say it, what they actually are saying is, yes, PlayStation 1, but we're not going to admit it. And that's it.
And let them know they're boring you. Let them know that
you're boring.
It gets to them. It gets to them for some reason.
Take care.